tricky and not tricky questions. And of course, it goes without saying that we will be more than happy to answer all of your questions and get all kind of feedback from you also after this webinar. For those who are not familiar with our company, let me tell you that who we are and why we are here. So the GrainSense is a young Finnish company. Our team is very passionate about modern technologies for sustainable agriculture, and our mission is to enable farming, smarter farming for all kind of grain market players through the real-time crop quality measurements on the spot everywhere. And we want to facilitate fast and data-driven decision-making for our agricultural colleagues. And those who need a reliable real-time information on the crop quality, they are already appreciated our solutions. So our first product, GrainSense Handheld Analyzer, was launched far in 2017. And since that moment, it has gained full recognition from the market. A lot of farmers and other food industry chain players have been enjoying the benefits of the instant grain quality measurement in the all kind of environments, being in the field, when processing, qualifying, selling, or buying the commodities. Today, we are very proud to present the next second version of our product. And as you will see today, our handheld device is considerably improved, and for sure you will like it. I'm quite sure about it. At this point, let me give the floor to our business development manager, Greg Simonson, to tell and show you more. And please do not forget to put your questions into the chat. We will be glad to answer them. So, Greg, the floor is yours.
Okay, thanks. Thank you very much, Olga. And as all of you participants to this event today saw when you registered, we are going to be discussing about what the GrainSense solution is all about. And then once we've gone through that, we'll actually have a video that we'll look at showing the very simple and easy use of the handheld analyzer. And then after that, we'll look at some of the benefits that we've seen from customers that own the handheld analyzer. And then at the end, we've reserved some time. As Olga mentioned, we do have some of our experts available here to help with some of the questions that you may have for us. So a main driver behind GrainSense is indeed the grain, all those involved in the grain, whether it's from production onto its final uses. So that includes your grain farmers, anyone that's involved in livestock production, handling grain, whether you're a grain marketer or grain trader. So anywhere along the line from production to final use of grain, it's important for all the players to have accurate information in helping them to make critical decisions concerning grain. And of course, with the instant and reliable information about the quality of grain, when you know that, it allows all these different players within the grain industry to make the right decisions at the right time and end up with smarter agribusiness. So how does GrainSense work? So in the screen here on the right side, you see the handheld analyzer. Some of you, that's quite familiar. Some of you, that's a new tool, new device. You haven't seen this before. So it's very fast to use. Reliable results come from using our device, and it's quite simple to use as well. So the GrainSense handheld analyzer, it's a portable battery-powered device which uses advanced near-infrared technology when analyzing grain, and the parameters that we currently are able to measure include protein, moisture, oil, as well as carbohydrate. And the results are quick, and we don't need that big a sample size to get the results. So here's a picture of the app which you need when using our handheld device. So the app on your cell phone, the results from our handheld device are instantly uploaded to the cloud, as well as the GPS location of where the sample is taken is recorded as well. So this slide shows here the flow of information. So right here you can see the handheld device has a Bluetooth connection and to the cell phone, and then from there the data flows to the GrainSense cloud service. So this is the dashboard which you'll see on your PC. And from this example here, we have a number of wheat samples that were taken. And the main point I wanted to show in this slide was these yellow dots that you're seeing on the right side of the screen. And those represent where those samples are taken. So this can be quite important to know at different times when you're managing your grain, whether you want to recall what quality you had stored in what bin or what quality came from what grain cart. It's a very useful tool that we have here, knowing the location of where the tests have been taken. So again, it's fast, reliable, and very simple to use. So when you're using our handheld device, you get instant data about the grain and that comes from just using a small sample size. And these results then can be viewed in the mobile app, and you can further analyze the results. So you can do different filtering functions and then compare the different sample results that you get. And it's very easy to do within the GrainSense dashboard through your laptop computer or through the handheld cell phone. So from this analysis, this helps to make the right decision and at the right time, and the information that you're able to garner using this analysis, you can easily share that with different operators on your operation, as well as if you're marketing the grain, there's different potential contacts that you want to be sharing this valuable information to. And then this information further allows you to make sure that every crop that you are handling and producing is put to the proper use. And it also allows you to get the right price and optimize your resources. So we'll have a look here now at GrainSense's our portfolio and the species that we currently support. So on the left side of the screen here, you see the handheld device, and that's the focus of our webinar today. Again, it's a very helpful tool for a number of players that are concerned with the grain industry. On the right side of the screen, some of you may be familiar with this, some are not, but we're very excited to share that this is part of our portfolio as well. Another very important part of our portfolio that we just recently launched in this calendar year. So again, as I mentioned, the focus of this webinar is the handheld device, but if you do have questions, we'd be quite happy to answer them through our website or through our distribution network. So the sample or the species that we currently are able to do testing on with our handheld device include wheat, barley, rye, rapeseed and canola, oats, soybean, and maize or corn. And as Olga mentioned, kind of at the forefront of this session today is our A2 version. So that's the latest version of our handheld analyzer. And with the A2, actually, we're now able to measure soybean and corn or maize from the whole kernels. So we're quite happy to share that. It definitely cuts down on the time required to do analysis. And one important thing to note with that is that it does require the glassless tray as which is available as an accessory, and we'll go through the use of this glassless tray in the video today as well. Looking at the production of our device, so we have our headquarters in Oulu, Finland, and there we have highly skilled laboratory technicians and manufacturing operators and engineers. The laboratory equipment that we use for reference methods includes the DUMAS and the nuclear magnetic resonance, and the calibration method that we use is based on selectivity. And on an annual basis, we collect samples from around the world, and this helps us to improve the calibration robustness of our handheld device. All of the handheld analyzers that leave our facility in Oulu go through a strenuous quality check before all the boxes are checked off and they're allowed to leave to the customer. Our facility is ISO 9001 certified, and we have high quality servicing and technical support. So here is a map showing, for the most part, where GrainSense is currently available and active in the marketplace today. So on the left side, we have North, Central, and South America. Europe, we have quite a good representation. Africa, India, Australia, Japan, and recently we've been becoming more active in the Asian market as well. So now we'll go in and look at a video here, and it's fairly self-explanatory, the video, but I'll narrate a little bit as we go along. So here we're starting out, we're going to be testing wheat. So you open the lid on the device and make sure that the tray is empty. Then you take a reference measurement with an empty tray. Now, as it shows on the screen, you can load the sample onto the tray. Spread it out so it's relatively even on the tray and not piled up. And now you take the measurement of the wheat. Here we see the results for protein and moisture. Results are now sent over to the mobile device. You can view the results there now. And now we'll have a look at soybeans. So from your mobile device, you switch the species over to soybeans. And now we have the mobile device syncing with our handheld analyzer. So there you see soybeans is now on the screen. So now we have it connected and ready to measure soybeans. So first we'll take the glass tray out, and we'll first, for the glassless tray, which we need for soybeans, first you put on the Teflon sheet, and then you put the ring to secure the sheet in place. So this is considered the glassless tray. Again, with the glassless tray, you need to make sure you run a reference measurement when the tray is empty. And now we can load the soybean sample onto the tray. Close the lid and take the measurement. Then once we have the results for the measurement, simply press down to view the different parameters, but now you press the center button and you can send the results to the mobile device. And here you can view view the results. So as you see, very, very simple use of our device, and we're happy to show that. So here's an example of the dashboard looking at a wheat result, and also using the dashboard you can do different filtration as mentioned to further analyze the results. So here we're filtering for wheat and selecting all wheat sample results, and now we'll export these results using Microsoft Excel. So we're loading up the sheet here. So this shows all the results. So this is very nice. Now you can go and further analyze the results and perhaps share this with different players, your potential buyers that will be buying your grain, or sharing within the farm. So looking at the individual bias adjustment. So we have regional variability in grain. So this is when this comes into play. So you can download this individual bias adjustment Excel template from our dashboard. At GrainSense, for this individual bias adjustment, we do recommend that you use 10 samples that you for doing this. So you take 10 samples and measure it with your local reference, and then take repeat those 10 samples 3 times with the GrainSense handheld analyzer. And then this chart, this template then tells you if there's any IBA adjustment required for the protein, moisture, or oil. In this example, just the moisture needs to be adjusted by 0.1. So you can do that quite easily within the dashboard. Make sure you have the correct analyzer number selected and change the moisture bias, save it and confirm, and the adjustment has now been made. So that's the extent of our video. Now we'll have a look at some of the benefits of the handheld analyzer. This discussion in no way is all inclusive. There are definitely more benefits that the customer sees, but these are just some of the benefits that we have seen, just to create some thoughts for you all today. So I think it's important to look at where is our analyzer commonly used today. So there's 2 areas that we do see it used currently. So from production right down to the last end user. So from the grain farmer, you have different grain traders, different players that are involved with grain marketing, and mills such as flour and oat plants, the brewing industry, and also research. Some research applications, it's important for them. They only have a small sample size that they're able to analyze, and it's also important that they keep the sample integrity for future research. So our handheld device has been quite useful in that space too. And then, so the livestock production, there's obviously you got your poultry, pork, cattle, feedlots, and dairy. So looking a little bit further here at the grain production benefits. So it's quite important for grain handling facilities and grain traders to know what the quality of the grain is that they're handling, what they're trading, and that's quite easily attained with our handheld device. And so this helps in determining the value of the grain, and it also helps then in making decisions concerning storage. So if you need to be drying the grain, or if you need to segregate it based on the oil content or the protein content, our device helps you to get that information to allow you to make those better informed decisions. So then when the grain farmer is using our handheld device, it helps them to decide when to harvest. So when the grain is dry enough for them to begin harvesting. Also, in what order to harvest. One example is that would be when you have 2 fields that would be ready to harvest at the same time. You can go ahead in the field with our testing device and check. For example, if it was 2 fields of wheat, you could you could determine which field has a higher protein content and more value. And if you had some inclement weather in the forecast and limited times, you would obviously choose the higher valued crop to be harvesting first in that situation. So same thing with the producer. It's important that they know the quality of the grain, and that helps them to decide where and how they're going to be storing the grain. And then from a marketing perspective, same thing there. It's very important that the farmer knows and they're able to communicate precise information as to the different quality parameters of the grain. And our handheld device has been found to be a very useful tool for this. And looking then at the livestock production benefits that have been brought to our attention. So our handheld device, again, allows those involved in this space to make better informed decisions. So whether you're at a production facility or a feed mill, it's quite important that you know the results, you know the quality of the grain that you're receiving. Often in these kinds of situations, you have multiple sources where the grain will be coming from. So you can't assume that each load of grain that you're receiving has the same quality parameters. So our handheld device allows those different players to get these results immediately and make decisions based on that. So storage decisions based on moisture and protein levels, oil content, as well. Obviously, some of these parameters will depend or will affect the amount of money that they will be paying to whoever is delivering the grain. And with this information in the livestock industry, this allows them to share this information with their nutritionist, for example, and they can look at protein, for example, and optimize the level of protein in the ration and save money in this way. So now we'll have a look at the GrainSense user license. So some of the things that are beneficial with having this GrainSense user license include that it allows you access to cloud storage and processing of data. So this allows you in the future, well, in the current and in the future, to keep record of all the tests that you're taking. And then, as we saw in the video, do further analysis through the Excel spreadsheet and these kind of methods. Another benefit with the user license includes additional species. As they become available, these will be available to the GrainSense user license holder. And lastly here, I have noted is that most recent calibrations and firmware updates are available through the GrainSense user license. And concerning the recent calibrations, as mentioned earlier, we do the annual sample collection globally, and this helps us to improve these calibrations. So with that, that's the end of the presentation for today. So now we can move into the question and answer session. So Olga, if you want to take over from here.
Yes, thank you very much, Greg. So it was really good to see the device and you explain how it works. So thank you. I see one question here in the chat, and this is very inspiring, and I hope to see more. Now I see two. But let me start. We have a couple of questions that we had received before starting the meeting. So and I also hope that our Chief Research and Development Officer will help us with more difficult questions. He's also here. But Greg, the first question we have received recently about the language support in the device. So it is improved. And can you please comment on what language support is now available for the customers?
Yeah, that's definitely an important piece. We want to be communicating in the local language. In the slide presentation, I showed the where we are around the world, and we do have a real global presence. So clearly, we have to be speaking the local language in order for our tool to be effective. So yes, we do support all the languages where we are currently conducting business, and actually just recently we've added characters to our screen capability. So that's through our software end of things, and that's helped us immensely now as we move into, for example, the Asian market where they have different alphabet characters required. So.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, indeed, it is important that we actually can now use with the new software solution, we can use the different signs and different letters in different languages. So another important question that also was here a bit before the event. What do we need to start using the device? What's are the starting points for using it?
Okay, yeah. So obviously you want to have the handheld device, right? So that's the first thing is you purchase the handheld device. And as we saw in the video there, we need the app downloaded onto your phone, and that allows you to select the different species that you're going to be testing and has different interfaces. And for example, that individual bias adjustment, that's available through the dashboard or through the app when so you sign up an account, and then through the app, you're able to communicate between the handheld device and the app on your mobile phone or on your iPad or whatever you're using for communicating. And then the other part is that we do have an annual license. As noted, I think in one of the last slides there, we do require an annual license, but there's definitely many benefits that come with this annual license. So.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it was brief but valuable. So, and before we switch with the questions from the chat to our main specialist in research and development, I would put one question from the chat to you, Greg, because it looks like you are the best one to answer this. Coming from Marcelo. Is the market there already valuing grains based on protein levels? Are they prepared in terms of infrastructure storage to segregate grains based on protein levels? The market is a bit different nowadays, but can you, Greg, probably a bit comment on this?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. And there's more than one answer to that question. So whether or not the market is ready, the answer is yes, I'm going to say. But also there's some situations where, for example, you have a facility that's receiving grain and they may not have that many separations to separate different levels of protein. And you may have the same situation on a farm when you're harvesting grain. You have different levels of protein, maybe coming off of different areas on the field, or maybe different fields. You might be harvesting in multiple locations at one time. So it is important to note that in order to capture some of this value that you get when using our handheld device, it is important that you do have the infrastructure to take advantage of this information. So is the market ready? Some is, and I think it's important, and I think it's a wise investment to have more segregations for storage and able to optimize the value that you're getting when you're selling your grain, but also for those, we talked there about the livestock production. When you're bringing in grain, it's important, especially with the protein component, to be able to segregate and then optimize the protein that you're getting from different sources. So I hope that answered the question there.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I agree with you that at least on the animal side, it's extremely important to know the protein level of the feeds. And now when the grain prices are so high, it's becoming more and more important to know what you feed. And that's a good question and a very good answer. Thank you, Greg. Okay, so at this point, probably you can have a short rest, a short break, Greg, and I would ask our Research and Development, Chief Research and Development Officer, Kari, to step in. We have several very technical questions. Kari, you are very welcome here. Thank you very much for joining us. So the first question going to you, and I'm again getting back to the earlier questions. What is the accuracy of our new device? Can you give us a short comment on this?
So yeah, in general, of course, the accuracy depends on the species, but in average for protein and moisture, we can reach an accuracy between 0.5 and 0.7% units in one standard deviation. And that is in comparison against the chemical methods, so DUMAS and NMR, and our laboratory FOSS when using FOSS's global calibrations.
Okay.
That's shortly.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that it's quite enough for such kind of event. So thank you very much. It's very common question. And now from the chat, I can see several ones for you. The first one is from Chisala, if I'm pronouncing it right. Is it possible to have two channels of the same commodity set to different biases?
So if I understand it correctly, it means that can there be two EBA settings for the same species for a single device? And the answer is no. So it's kind of one EBA per species per device. But of course, EBAs between different species can be different.
Okay. Thank you very much. And another question from Maxim. Will it be possible to change the slope of the calibration curve through the cloud?
At the moment, no. Technically, it is possible, and if it turns out that there is really a need for it, it can be done, especially because now the devices also have the full over-the-air updatability. So we have the option, but it's not applied, let's say in that way. And the main reason is that we haven't seen any good reasons to do it, because the main things the main thing between let's say our device and some laboratories is some constant offset. So if there is a difference, mainly it is just a bias. And the other thing is that it is a bit difficult to actually get the slope correction precisely. So the bias requires, let's say, from 5 to 10 samples, but if you want to get the slope correction done correctly, you have to really measure a lot. And then if you do the slope correction with only some small amount of data points, then it can actually go wrong. And then if you get the slope correction wrong, it can do some really bad things to your results. So that's why it's a bit dangerous to adjust the slope if you don't really know precisely what you're doing. But
okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the answer. There is one more question. Probably I would shortly answer it myself. It is about the glassless tray that can be obtained separately. Yes, it can be. Of course, it's a good idea to buy it together with the device. But if you, for some reason, forgot to do this, you can order the glassless tray separately, and also the protection discs, the Teflon discs that you saw at the demonstration, they are also available as a separate spare part. So this is quite possible to do and to handle later on. I also see a question regarding the flow system. Well, it's a bit beyond the scope of this event, and we had a launch event and a kind of webinar related to the GrainSense flow analyzer. So if you don't mind, we can take it separately, Alexander. If you contact us, we can show you the video and discuss this topic separately. So it's really interesting, and we have a lot of information on it. But I would probably postpone this discussion outside of this event. But shortly, it's just a device that measures the grain quality in flow. It can be measured in the combine, or it can be measured in the silos or dryers, and when the grain is flowing. So briefly, it is about this. I have one more question here, and I don't know, Kari, probably you can answer this one, or we can probably ask Teemu, our product manager, to jump in with the answer. From Anna. Can the analyzer be connected to several emails, or can the same email be associated with several analyzers? Probably, I think we will ask Teemu to answer the question. Thank you, Kari.
Mm-hmm.
You are muted, Teemu, I'm sorry.
Sorry about that. Forgot
It's
to
okay.
open the microphone. We have this new feature coming shortly called multi-analyzer license, which will enable connecting several analyzers to one email.
Yeah, exactly. The
Shortly.
feature is coming
Short
on the 15th of June, so it will be nicely available then. Okay, so I hope I'm not missing any questions. So looks like we have answered everything. And well, if you don't have any other questions, I really hope that you liked our new version of the handheld analyzer, and we are looking forward to answering your questions if you have them later on. And thank you very much for joining us today. If you wish, the video will be shared with you, and we also put the video on our website so that you can take a closer look into the demonstration. And please stay tuned. We will be continuing our webinars later, and have a nice day. Thank you very much.